Hello fight fans, thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, Ariel Helwani explodes at bootlicker Michael Bisping over criticism of UFC 303 reporting. Moving on, Colby Covington viciously mocks Michael Chandler after UFC 303 cancellation. Next, Daniel Cormier firmly encourages Michael Chandler to move on after Conor McGregor fight postponement. Next, Jamal Hill reveals list of injuries behind UFC 303 withdrawal, vows to be back soon. Lastly, Michael Chandler reacts to canceled Conor McGregor fight with tequila. MMA journalist Ariel Helwani and UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping are feuding over Helwani's coverage of UFC 303. UFC 303 was supposed to be headlined by a welterweight clash between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. But McGregor suffered an injury leading up to the June 29th pay-per-view, and the fight has been indefinitely postponed. Helwani, a veteran MMA journalist, was at the center of reporting the latest surrounding the UFC 303 main event and McGregor's status. After Thursday's announcement of McGregor's withdrawal, Helwani was proven correct, despite some dismissing his reporting as pure speculation. Bisping, who has emerged as one of the top MMA analysts at ESPN, discredited Helwani's journalistic integrity. Bisping made his feelings about Helwani publicly known during a recent episode of Believe You Me. Here's what he said: Ariel Helwani's out there, a lot of the time posting and tweeting like he's an expert on everything, but he knows nothing. He's putting feelings out there. That's what he loves to do. That's his badge of honor. He likes to break news. If I hear of a situation, I'm not doing investigative journalism, trying to find out like my life depends on it, and I'll risk everything so I can be the one to break it. Because who gives a f***, and it's none of your business. What will be will be. Stay out of it, you prick. During a recent episode of the Ringer MMA show, Helwani responded to Bisping's comments. Here is what he said: "You're a former bad boy who became a bootlicker who wants to stay in good standing with Dana White. So you have chosen to pick a fight with me in order to curry favor with your boss, who gives you a few quid to commentate and be excited about slap fighting. To me, it's shameful, it's embarrassing, and that's why I refer to him as bootlicker Bisping. And he can say whatever the f*** he wants to about me." Bisping entered the UFC Hall of Fame in 2019 following a legendary career in the cage. Helwani is a multiple-time winner of the MMA Journalist of the Year award and is a pioneer of combat sports media. Two of the biggest names in UFC journalism are in a fiery feud, and the back and forths between Helwani and Bisping could be at the beginning stages. Former UFC welterweight title challenger Colby Covington didn't hesitate to tease Michael Chandler after the UFC 303 fight cancellation. Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor were supposed to square off in one of the biggest fights of 2024 at UFC 303, but after 10 days of speculation and worry following the Dublin press conference cancellation, the fight fell through after McGregor suffered an injury in camp. Chandler won't be rebooked for a new fight at UFC 303, and UFC light heavyweight champ Alex Pereira now headlines the card in a rematch with Yuri Prohaska. It's uncertain how long McGregor will be on the sidelines after the fight camp injury. Months before UFC 303, Covington warned Chandler that his desired McGregor fight wouldn't come to fruition. After UFC 303's cancellation, Covington used it to remind Chandler of their previous interaction. Chandler hasn't fought since a loss to Dustin at UFC 281. He and McGregor seemed destined for an octagon collision after their time coaching opposite each other on The Ultimate Fighter 31. McGregor hasn't competed since a loss to Poirier by doctor's stoppage at UFC 264. He suffered a nasty leg break, and it's uncertain if this new injury is related to his previously compromised leg. Covington is targeting a return to the octagon later in 2024 after a loss to UFC welterweight title holder Leon Edwards at UFC 296. In one of the most disappointing moments of his career, Chandler got an ears full from Covington, and the wait on whether or not the McGregor fight will come to fruition continues. UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier wants to see Michael Chandler turn the page on his desired Conor McGregor clash after UFC 303's cancellation. McGregor suffered an injury in fight camp, forcing him to withdraw from his planned clash with Chandler in the UFC 303 main event. It's a disappointing setback for Chandler's long, patient wait for McGregor's readiness to return to the octagon. It's uncertain if the fight will be rebooked for a later date, or if the UFC will move on from the matchup. Daniel Cormier feels Chandler needs to take a stand and resume his career, without McGregor further delaying it. In a recent segment on his YouTube channel, Cormier recommended Chandler move on from the McGregor fight. Here is what he said. "He's got some things to weigh going forward because I don't know that he should wait anymore. I think it's time to move off of this, and I believe that the overwhelming sentiment is that Conor McGregor is done. I thought Conor McGregor was going to come back because to me, Conor McGregor's a fighter. I know skill for skill, the Conor McGregor of 2015 isn't the same guy, but I thought that the star was still the same. I just don't know that he wants to fight. Especially right now, it's uncertain how long McGregor will be sidelined. But Cormier thinks now is the time for Chandler to move on from the big money fight to avoid further inactivity." Jamal Hill's withdrawal from the once-planned UFC 303 co-main event versus Carlos Ulberg was more than warranted. Former light heavyweight champion Hill stepped out of the scheduled matchup with Ulberg on the June 29th in Las Vegas as part of a massive overhaul to the lineup that served as a chain reaction after Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler was canceled. Hill, who was looking to make a quick turnaround from his UFC 300 main event loss to Alex Pereira, which came on the heels of a fast comeback from a ruptured Achilles, revealed a bevy injuries led to him stepping aside. According to Hill, he sustained 2 meniscus tears in one of his knees, a sprained ACL, and a Baker's cyst that required significant drainage. He issued a statement sharing the details Friday on social media via Instagram. Here is what he said: "2 tears in my meniscus, sprained my ACL, a Baker cyst that leaked fluid in the back of my knee, and an infusion in some joints. There were actually 3 of these. This is only making me hungrier. Be back soon." Despite the difficult setback, Hill, 33, appeared to maintain high spurts about his fighting future. Michael Chandler has been silent since the announcement of Conor McGregor's injury, which caused the cancellation of their scheduled bout at UFC 303. Ever since coaching opposite Conor McGregor on season 30 of The Ultimate Fighter, Michael Chandler has been waiting to meet the former 2-division champion inside the octagon. It was all set to finally go down as the UFC 303 main event on June 29th at International Fight Week in Las Vegas. But then McGregor got injured. In his first statement of sorts since the news, Chandler posted a video to social media of him pouring himself a cup of his hiatus brand tequila with a short caption, "Welp back on hiatus." Despite many of his peers urging him to move past the fight against McGregor, Chandler has stuck with the matchup and may wait a little longer to make it happen. The new UFC 303 main event will be a rematch between Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska, with the light heavyweight title on the line. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.